Angela Cheryl Boggs. You're listening to the Cheryl Boggs Show, resting in His Word. And like I told you, I have a special guest that is going to be joining me, and we're going to get her take on being a worship leader, being this younger generation. Not saying that I'm old, but I think I'm probably a couple of years older than her. But let's bring her on. Hello. Cachét. Hello. Can you hear me?
How you
Okay.
doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Yay, I'm glad. I'm so glad to have you. So, Cachét is uh, a recording artist, and she did her very first single called Praises, which we'll hear in a little bit. She's also a worship leader. Go ahead and tell us a little bit more about who Cachét is.
Absolutely. Thank you again for having me. As Cheryl said, my song Praises is out now featuring the Earl Bynum. And it has just been doing amazing, not only on the charts, because obviously a lot of people talk about that, but it's truly blessing people and has made a huge impact in the kingdom. And so we're truly grateful for that. I'm from Pine Bluff, Arkansas, so I'm just a country girl who loves the Lord. I've been singing since I was 5 years old, actually leading the choir at 5 years old. So I've been singing forever. And when I moved to Texas, which was about 12 years ago, that's when I kind of got into the praise teams.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit before that, we kind of had a group, but in Arkansas it was like, quartet groups and stuff like that. But we, weren't a quartet for several reasons. But anyway, we were just a little singing group that we had. But that was kind of my first taste of something similar to a praise team. But so when I was in Texas, I got a taste of that a bit more and learning how to lead singers
Mm-hmm.
behind you, learning how to lead a band. I had
Okay.
never done that. And then also leading the congregation. So
Mm-hmm.
those three factors, having to lead in that capacity, is a whole nother level, because it's the difference between I'm just a soloist by myself, or I'm singing with a choir who the choir director is kind of guiding, versus I'm leading the band. I got singers behind me depending on me, and I'm trying to get the congregation involved so they'll worship with me. So that's a whole nother dynamic that I'm not gonna lie, I didn't want to walk into, because I don't like being in the forefront still now. But I tried to, be in the background. The Lord was like, no. So he had to physically remove me out of some situations to say, all right, this is what I need you to do. You gonna do it. So
Mm-hmm.
that's just a little bit about me.
I love it. I love it. Because I was really, um, one of the reasons why I wanted to bring you on the show again was just what you were saying. It is a difference between, a soloist when you're soloing and when you're leading worship. And, like I said, I'm not old. No, I'm just kidding. But I know that you're a little old, you're a little older, you're a little younger. And so for this generation of of worship, I'm gonna kind of zero in on the worship leading, because even if you're leading a song with the choir, you're still wanting to engage, the audience. So as a worship leader, and in your generation, I don't know what generation, there's so many, is it
I'm a
generation
millennial. I'm a
Lynn? Yeah, okay, I thought so, but I want then they had like two or three of them after that, but
Yes,
But
Gen Z, Gen Alpha.
yeah,
Yes.
they somebody just sitting at home. I promise you, they're just making this stuff. But what I was really wanting to zero in on the millennials now. Um, when you're soloing, you want to still engage the audience. So in leading worship, I love what you were saying. See, you already ahead of the game, because some worship leaders think that's just the time for them to solo, and I'm going, no, that's the time where you engage, the congregation, so that they can join in. And so, as a millennial, do you believe that is extremely important, right?
I absolutely do because, especially with me, and I just led with the choir yesterday
Yeah.
at my church. Shout out to OCBF. I love
Woo-hoo.
and I had to do that, and that's even a different dynamic like I was speaking of, because you still have to be in tune with the choir director.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, with Cachét was zoned out and I'm at the Lord's feet and y'all watching me and the Lord commune. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
I have to be conscious about, okay, Shay, yes, you and the Lord communing, but you got some stuff happening around you as well. So you have to be conscious of that. But in that regard, to just, having all of those different things happening, you have to be in tune with God first, this part here, and
Exactly.
then you can bring the audience into that, worship moment, because I like people to not, I don't want you to focus on me and what I can do. Yes, I am blessed to have an awesome gift. I believe that I have a beautiful voice. I didn't always think that, but I do believe that I do believe that God has gifted me in certain ways. And some people like to woo, some people love, the reactions that the people give, and so I'm going to do this because this is going to give me a certain reaction. But I just don't believe in that, because the only person that I'm trying to get a reaction out of is my daddy. So I'm going to give him everything I got. If you don't like how I do it, if you trying to critique how I do it, I'm sorry, I don't want to hurt your feelings, but I really don't care,
Mhm.
because I'm not doing it for you. I'm doing it for God, and you're benefiting from it.
And
And
that's paramount, because if if you don't have that private connection with the Lord, you can't lead people where you've never been.
woo,
Just
come
can't.
on.
And so if you don't have that one-on-one connection, which I that is my preach, because you have to have that one-on-one connection with the Lord. If not, you just singing a pretty song, and you just bringing, they're all enamored with you, but you're not going to be there with them at 3 o'clock in the morning. they're
Come
going to
on.
need they're going to need that one-on-one relationship. So our job as artists, as worship leaders, as ministers, minstrels, is to get them connected with the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. I love that.
That's
and
beautiful. Yeah.
and as a millennial, let me ask you this, because I don't know what, I know I'm not a millennial. I don't think. No, I'm just, I used to be on the cusp, but y'all done changed the all of that. But uh, as a millennial, is your generation just looking for the bells and the whistles, or are they really searching for something that is real?
That's a good question too. We do like the bells and the whistles.
Hmm.
But I do believe what, some of us felt was missing, and I'm not gonna say everywhere, right? Because we don't want to make this a generation
Okay.
against generation. But I will say that there was an element of authenticity that sometimes could be missing. to where it's like, okay, I know what the word says, right? I know what the scripture says, and I really want to please God. I really want to do this, but I don't know why. It's something within me that's a struggle. But when we looked outward to others, sometimes they kind of made it appear like, okay, it's something wrong with us because we're struggling and they've never struggled before.
Yeah.
So it's an element of authenticity that I think we desire, especially the generations, after me, because at least most millennials did grow up in church. Now
Right.
we got a whole generation of kids who they don't even know
And
what that looks like to grow up in church. And so that's another piece that, with what we may call bells and whistles, that appeals to them, because the way technology is now, the way, everything is so fast paced, it's like, okay, how can I present the gospel in a way? At my church, a lot of times they say it's like putting chocolate on strawberries, right?
mhm.
So you taking something that is good for you, but you got to put a little sugar on there. I had strawberries today when I was eating. I dipped it in my sweet dip because, right.
Uh,
But so I say all that to just say we are looking for, the meaning and authenticity of, okay, how do I really live this out? Because like you said, if I go to church and then I'm crying and I'm boohooing and I'm falling all out, but then the next day or when I leave the church, I go in the parking lot, because I've been at church, and the church I go to, we Bible teacher, and somebody, before we even got out the door, I left my D shades in the sanctuary. Like, what? You still, like,
just
you ain't even made it out the door, huh? But you also
uh-huh.
have Christians that don't think cussing is bad. So that's a whole nother thing I won't get into. But just the authenticity of that relationship, and that, vulnerability of, how do I really walk this Christian walk out and be a worshiper every day? Because worship is more than a song, it's
Yes.
more than music,
Yes.
right? So how do I actually live a lifestyle of worship?
Yes. And I think, what you were saying, I mean, it's so powerful. It's like, for some, I don't know, some crazy reason, um, we wanted to just give your generation and the ones after you, just give them all kind of bells and whistles, give them bells and whistles. Okay. um and I agree, we like bells and whistles, but at the end, I'm gonna need something other than the bell and the whistle in order to get me. That's why I really want to do some workshops to um, let these generations know, that one-on-one relationship is what's going to keep you after the smoke machine is off, and after the little lights and all of the flickering, and then after you finish jumping. And I ain't got nothing against jumping. But I've watched a whole generation jumping, jumping, jump, and I'm going, what happened when you came down? Like you're saying, when you hit the parking lot, what happened when you stopped jumping? I want to put in them that the importance of having that one-on-one relationship with Jesus Christ. And that is, here's my $5 word, paramount. Because whether you can sing really good, and I talked about it last week, on the show. um, People can sing you up under the table, but if they leave our presence and all they got is us. Ooh, that girl sang. Ooh, that boy. Ooh, he been run. Oh, when they are in trouble, they ain't gonna be able to call you. Talking about, Cachét, can you sing that run again for me? No, they're going to need to have that one on one relationship with the Lord that says, no, I'm not perfect, but I serve a perfect God. They need to, I want to demonstrate that there is a way to walk. See, because Jesus said, be holy, for I am holy. And then, girl, he put his holiness on us.
Mm.
That's what I mean. It's like, he don't tell us to try to do something that he does not give us the ability to do. So my whole thing right now, what the Lord has just been dealing with me is um, to be that example to those that, like you said, weren't brought up in church, that doesn't know that they can have that one real relationship, you know. And I've watched you a little bit, uh, and I don't really watch a whole bunch of people, but but I was, for the lack of a better word, I was impressed. Yes, you have a beautiful voice, and yes, we are. We're going to hear that. But I tell you what really struck me, and I wasn't there very long, but you came out at the that summit, the international summit, and you encouraged one of the singers that was sang on the same program, and you just began to minister to her.
You saw that?
I saw that.
Oh.
And they were laughing because I don't stick around a whole lot. But I saw that and I thought, yeah, yeah, because that is giving God something more than just a song, giving him more than just a voice. Here you are ministering to someone who wasn't even in your generation. And I just happened to be standing on the side and you hugged her. And I don't remember everything you said, but you said something about God's not through. I don't know. And you probably don't remember all the stuff you said to her. But I thought, now I can get behind somebody, like I can promote someone, that I can promote that.
Oh, thank you. The Lord was speaking. He listened. He took over my mouth, my
Mhm.
body, and it just, yeah, that was a blessing. That
It
that
was
was
beautiful. It was beautiful. And I had people texting me, talking, "Where you at? Where you been?" Da 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 da. And I was like, you know, um, but I believe that I was there, to experience that, and that
oh,
made me, I was like, okay, I want to promote, I want to help people that aren't just singing a song, because that it says, "I'll give you more than a song, because a
sing it,
song in itself is not what you have required."
sing
So I'm
it
coming,
now.
I'm coming back to the heart of worship, and that has always been my heart. But it's been my heart because I have walked this journey and I have seen a lot of stuff and I've met a lot of people. And, but at the end of the day, it wasn't how well they sang, it wasn't how many records they sold. It's what kind of relationship do you have when you come off of that stage,
Hmm.
you know? And that to me, um, is more important than any, hey, we can, you can do all.
That was good. Now I will say good. Okay.
Oh, there's people singing up under the bridge. You know what I'm saying? People up under the bridge that can sing.
Right.
God is looking for people, like yourself, that He can use you at any moment. And it wasn't just a song. So, like, I mean, bells and whistles, we got them all day. We got smoke machine, we got flashing lights, we got all of that. You know, but my concern is that when the light go off and ain't nobody there but you're gonna have that one-on-one relationship. And so having both, having the bells and the whistles and the jump, I just be laughing because when you 20, or when you jump, all they be jumping. And I was at, I'll tell you something that happened to me. I was at a Carrie Job conference.
I
Well,
love Carrie
I
Job.
do too. I do.
Oh,
And I got to meet her, and I'm backstage talking to her, and she's lovely. And I think David and Nicole Binion were there. So, I'm all up in there, ooh. And I watched this whole generation They just jumped and jumped and jumped, and I was laughing because I'm like, rock on, y'all, jump. They jumped for a whole hour. And then what bothered me a little bit was after they got through jumping and the word was going forth, it was like they just zoned out. I was like, hold up. And so that was years ago. And I think it just kind of stayed with me because I wanted to just do a class right then. I wanted to set them down and go, after you finish jumping, jump. I'm glad your knees are good. Jump. I was like, but let's talk about your relationship. Let's talk about, you see what I'm saying? I wanted to have not a Bible class, not necessarily, I just wanted to have a teaching moment. And I just wanted to say, you know, because I think that's a responsibility. That should be a responsibility for all recording artists, for psalmists, for worship leaders to be an example of, like you were saying, you worship at home, you worship in your car. You know, I just wanted to say to them, you can worship anywhere, even after the song is over. And I'm not picking on them because God knows I never seen them again, and there was thousands and thousands of them there. Um, but my concern was, I was like, I'll give you more than a song. I'll give you more than a jump. I'll give you more than a run. Because God is looking for that relationship, not not perfection. Because there's a song out now that's talking about God, don't give up on me yet. And I was like, that's beautiful. Howsoever, he ain't never gonna forget. He ain't gonna give up on you, boo. He gonna be there. So that's my whole thing. I wanted to talk to you to get your take on your relationship with Jesus and a millennial, because I tell you, I went to another concert and I sat beside this one girl, and I'm telling you, they was going in. I mean, worshiping. And I asked them, I said, how old are you? She said, I'm 17. And then my friend is 16. And they love Jesus. And that, I can't even explain how my heart was like, yeah. you know, so talk to us a little bit about um, your relationship. How did your relationship cultivate with the Lord?
Look, I'm about to start blushing. I love him. When I was super young, I can remember I was baptized at 5. I remember what I had on. I remember the day. I remember the preacher that did it. And I was 5, and I honestly remember all of that. And what drew me to the Lord was, okay, how could someone who, I don't know, who I've never seen, love me this much?
Mm.
When I had people in my life, for example, my father, who wasn't in my life, but we ended up cultivating a relationship years down the line when I was in my 20s. But, when I was a little girl and all throughout, college, he wasn't there for me. And so it was like, man, my own dad doesn't love me. So how can
Right.
you love me? And so that was just this drawing that I had to God. And so that was the beginning, and it was certain things in my life that, I would read the Bible early. I started reading because I could read at an early age too. And so I was very interested in that. I would, try to tell people about God. So I was evangelizing, I was doing all the things. But there were certain pieces of my life that I didn't realize at the time, but that I hadn't truly given over to him. It was certain things that I felt like I could do myself,
Mhm.
but I just wanted him to kind of make it happen. And I mean, we were a great team. You know, he was knocking it out the park, getting me in school where I didn't have to pay, and all these different things that happened. But it was a time in my life where he had to really just start breaking things off of me and really just showing me how to go deeper. And there was actually this book that I read that took my worship life to a whole nother level. It's a book by Zach Neese called How to Worship a King.
Mm,
And that book truly changed my thought process of worship, because just being honest, growing up in church, I didn't learn any of that. I didn't learn about worship. I don't even remember hearing the word worship
mm.
as a kid. And so it just opened me up to a whole new level. And so now, you know, I'm just excited to actually get visitations from angels and things on a deeper level that are supernatural things that when you talk about it, people think you crazy type of stuff. That's the type of stuff that I experience. And I want to go deeper in that, you know. And so it's a process. There's no formula to it, but he wants to commune with us. He wants that relationship, no matter where you are, no matter where you've been, no matter what you've done. That's truly what he desires. And so I'm just grateful that, you know, I've learned that and that he allows me to be able to share with people, you know, about that. And so get you a closet, go in your closet. That's where I'm at right now. And I got my scriptures on the wall. I got so much stuff on the wall, because that's what has helped to get me through, is just cultivating that one-on-one time with him. So
You hit the nail, as they say, on the head, because it's really about love. It's about being in that love relationship with the Lord. That's what I believe is missing in some of the preaching that we do. And what the Lord always says to me, He says, they're being introduced to church, but they're not being introduced to me.
mm,
And so I spent my whole show last week was introducing people to Jesus,
mm,
you know, because that one-on-one, that love relationship, that's what you cultivate. That's what gets you through those times, you know. It's that love, receiving his love and giving him love. So you girl, yeah, see, I know the spirit of the Lord. I know.
oh, thank you.
So it is precious. I just want to encourage you. Um, Go ahead and do your commercial, and I'll end up. Tell them how they can continue to get praises. Go ahead.
Thank you. So we have a music video. I don't know if a lot of people know that, but Earl and I were blessed to be able to get together and shoot a music video for the song Praises. And so you get to see some of that jumping and stuff.
She
All,
jumps now.
huh? Oh yeah, all of that good carrying on. But we had a good time, and Praises is out everywhere you stream music. If you can get it on iTunes, that would be really great, because it really helps us out when you purchase the song. Instead of just streaming it, you can do both. Okay. But yeah, everywhere: iTunes, Apple Music, Tidal, Google Play, whatever you purchase music. So, and thank you to all the radio stations that have been playing it. It's been going strong
Mhm.
since it came out a year ago. So it's just a humbling experience, you know, coming into this with people like yourself, Miss Cheryl, that just help me and kind of, you know, give me opportunities to just share my heart for God, because I really do love him. I'm not perfect, but I am striving
Yeah.
for perfection. I press on towards the mark every single day. And so I'm truly grateful just to be here and talk about praises. I love this.
Amen. So it's Praises by Cachét, featuring Earl Bynum, which we just got a chance to spend some time with Earl. And so, like she said, go to iTunes and download it. It's only 99 cents.
Come
Go on
on.
over there. Go on over there and do that. And check out the video is on YouTube, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing your testimony. And I do want to have you on again. And I do want to do some workshops and some different things so that we can, bless this generation and say, hey, you can have that one on one love relationship with the Lord. And that is what really is what makes worship.
Absolutely. I would love to, Miss Cheryl. I thank you so much. I had a great time. This is my heart. So anytime I can share my heart and allow people to learn from what I've been through in my journey, it's an absolute honor. So thank you.
Welcome. And thank you for being you. Continued success with everything that God is doing in your life. And we'll just keep our eyes on everything God's doing.
Hallelujah. I receive it.
Okay. All right. God bless you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. You're welcome. All right. I'm Evangelist Cheryl Boggs. You've been listening to The Cheryl Boggs Show, resting in His Word. Heard here live every Monday, starting at 5 Central, right here on Fishbowl Studio. Hey, go to fbrn.us and what is it? Vote now and vote for Resting in His Word, the Cheryl Boggs Show, for Show of the Year and for Cheryl Boggs as Female Host of the Year. I would greatly appreciate it. Again, thank you so much for being with me today. This is a love relationship between Jesus Christ and you. He wants that relationship. He wants you to commune with Him. He is there for you. And you can ask Him into your heart, and He will be there through the Holy Spirit. The Lord loves you. He loves you. His grace is sufficient for you. And no matter where you are, know that the Lord is right there. And Jesus is as close to you as the mention of His name. Will you join me again next week? I certainly hope you will.